So let's have a look at our topics. We are going to look at using measurements and rulers, using shapes and lines in your design, finding the right design style or aesthetic, and sourcing your own scrapbook and background images. Right, let's get started. So using measurements and rulers, using the grid and rulers is a useful feature for understanding how big your images will appear on a page. And it can help you measure the distance between items as well. We've covered rulers and grids in previous webinars, so let's just do a quick refresher. You can turn the rulers on by going to the top menu and selecting View, then selecting Show Rulers. A horizontal and vertical ruler will appear on the outside of your page, as you can see here. To get specific about the dimensions of your image, you can use the Measurements tool in the Inspector panel on the right-hand side of your screen. When you click on a photo or text box on your page, the inspector will show you the exact dimensions in millimeters. So this here is the actual size of your image. When you, and if you want a specific size, you can actually manually enter the values of the width and height that you want. So say you wanted to, used to get your traditional 10 by 15 centimeter prints, you can actually type in those values. It would be, you'd actually put in 100 by 150 millimeters, and that will actually appear in your book the same size as the old-fashioned prints you used to get. You can also manually adjust the angle of your picture down the bottom here, or you can change the X and Y coordinates of where the photo appears on the page. So this X and Y at the top shows you exactly where it's going to appear on your page. So all of those things can be changed. Next, let's look at using shapes and lines in your design. So a creative way to display your photos is using the Shapes and Lines tool. There are a number of different shapes to choose from. Let's have a look at a few examples now. So you can access the different shapes in the top menu bar. Select Insert from the menu, then choose whether you want to insert a picture box or a solid color shape. A picture box will have the X in the box, which indicates that you can drag an image into that shape. You can always change the shape by going to the inspector and adjusting the number of sides. That's on this area here. The shape, you can change the shape and the number of sides. 3 sides will make a triangle, 4 sides will make a diamond, and so on. All right, let's have a look at some finished design ideas using some of the shape options. So here is an example of a triangle shaped picture box, and behind our picture box is a solid shaped triangle. This is an example of how you can use the shapes to create your own patterns. Just like the picture boxes, you can add any solid color shape to your page by selecting Insert from the top menu bar and then selecting Shape. And you can see here we've changed the background, the shape to pink, so that you can change the color if you like. Next, we have an example of a diamond-shaped picture box. So here I've used 4 diamond picture boxes and arranged them into one big diamond shape. You may need to double-click on each photo box to crop your photo so that it's displaying the right part of the picture made in the diamond. I will do an example of this later on in the editor to show you how to do it. Here's an example of a circle picture box. In the top menu bar, you select Insert, then select an oval-shaped picture box. In this example, I've also used the line tool. So after inserting a line, I've duplicated it a few times and spaced them out evenly to create a pattern. Then to finish it off, I chose a rounded font. I've actually used Arial Rounded there. So it's similar to the lines with its rounded edges. Our last example is a hexagon-shaped picture box. I also placed a solid-shaped hexagon behind my picture box. By making the solid hexagon slightly bigger, it creates a border effect around my picture. I made sure to use the aligning tools to make both hexagons completely centered. And I'll show you this one a bit later on as well. So these are just a few examples. You can also use the slider in the inspector to add more sides to your shape, all the way out to a decagon, which is 10-sided. Next, let's look at choosing or finding the right design style. So when you're selecting backgrounds, frames, and scrapbooking items, the editor has some filtering options that will help you narrow down a specific design style. So you can click on one of the categories to only display options that fall under that category. For example, if you're creating a wedding album, you might choose backgrounds, frames, etc. from the elegant category. And that way they'll have a similar aesthetic to them, similar feel to them. Or if you're doing a travel book, for instance, you could choose backgrounds, etc. from the travel category. Or if it's a kids book, you might like to choose lots of fun, colourful images from the kids category. The best advice with this or regarding your design style is to keep it simple. Remember that you want your pictures to do the talking. Having too much on the page can have an overwhelming effect, and the viewer will have too many things to take in. Of course, it does depend on your preferred style, but sometimes less is more. So if you look at the image on the left-hand side, it's quite busy, whereas the image on the right is really trying to focus on the photos, but still gives it a nice background. You can always use the opacity tool to bring down the opacity of your background if it's too bright. So you can see this on the right-hand image here. Finally, let's look at how to source your own scrapbook and background items. As you know, the editor does offer a selection of backgrounds and scrapbook images that you can use in your photo book design. The great thing about our editor, though, is that you can upload any image file to the design library that you want to use. So these two websites, unsplash.com and hireclipart.com, are free to use resources of images that you can browse and save for your own personal use. I'll give you a demonstration after running through these slides. Unsplash.com is a photography website full of high quality images that you can download and use for free. All you have to do is go to the website and type in a search query or to browse for all the photos in that category. So for example, I've typed in texture and it's come back with over 23,000 results. Once you see an image you'd like to use as your background, click on it and then select download in original size. Remember, you can search for anything at all and it will show you all the photos available. For scrapbooking images, the editor only accepts PNG file formats. You can't upload a JPEG for scrapbooking use. The reason for this is because parts of a PNG image can contain transparent areas. So if you look at this beach ball in the screenshot, which it's a circular shape, you'll see there's white and grey squares on the outside, which would be transparent. You can't do that with a JPEG file. So hireclipart.com is the best website for sourcing free-to-use PNG files. Again, you can type in a search query to browse some image options. Click on the image once you find what you are looking for, and then click on the download to save it to your computer. Please do be careful to make sure you choose the correct download button, as you may find there'll be quite a bit of advertising on the page unless you've got an ad blocker. Also, it's best to use images that are at least 1,000 pixels, but not more than 6,000 pixels in length and width, so that they'll be big enough, but not too big, to use within our editor. Once you've downloaded your images to your computer, all you have to do is add them to the design library in the editor. And you click on the settings cog on the far right, and then add to upload your image, which I will show you how to do in a couple of minutes. All right, so now let's open up a web browser to see how we can source our own background and scrapbook images. And then after that, I'll do a quick demonstration in the editor around using shapes. First of all, let's go to, so this is just a web browser and I have typed in unsplash.com. That's taken me to their website. And you can search for anything you want here. So I'm just going to do a quick search for texture. And you'll see I've got lots of different designs that come up. So say I like this design, I just click on it, left click on it to open it. I then click on the little arrow next to download and I choose original size. And it's going to ask me if I want to save it. I will say yes, okay, and that'll save it to my downloads folder on my computer. So you can do that with as many photos as you want. Next, let's have a look at HiClipArt. So this is another website, www.hiclipart.com. And again, you've got a search bar here. You can type in anything you want. We've got Christmas coming up. Let's have a quick look for Christmas items that I might want to use for my scrapbooking. Now, be aware, it is going to come up with a lot of advertising, so do apologise for the council nominations here. I'll just choose this image of a Christmas tree and presents under the tree. So as I mentioned, you are going to see a lot of advertising. Be careful of these at the top, this green start to download and this download button here, because these are ads. The one that you need to look for is going to be this green button here that says download original PNG. You click on that and it takes a minute and we've got more advertising, but we've got save file. So I'll click OK and that will save the file to my computer. Next, we go to our AlbumWorks editor, and I've opened just a fresh book here and loaded some photos. So firstly, we want to add that background so that we can use it in the book. So if we click on backgrounds at the bottom, and then we click on the little cog to the right and say add, and it will take me to my computer, and I have saved them in the downloads folder. And if you sort your items by the last modified, date modified, I've got today's ones. They can have weird file names. I know that I did two just now, so the first one will be my background. So I'm going to click add. Now I can change the name if I want. I can also add it to one of the specific categories if I want. So if I want to add it to I don't know, patterns, or actually we'll add it to textures, then it will add it to that particular group. So we click OK. Don't have to categorize it, and there it is now at the end of my list. So I can just drag that on the page and got my background. So we can do the same for scrapbook items. So we'll click on scrapbook, click on the cog and say add, and I know the top one is the one that I added of the Christmas tree. Again, if you want, you can change the name. I'll just put Christmas tree. I don't have to add it to a category. We'll just click OK. And there it is. So again, I can add that to my page. I can make it bigger and smaller. And so you'll see that, so that photo actually did have some transparency in the background. Like all this, rather than being white, is actually transparent. So if I put on a colored background, you don't see, it's not white, you know, you can actually get that transparency showing. So that's very useful. All right, so now let's have a look at shapes. We'll open up a new page, and a couple of things I was going to show you were the diamond arrangement that I had in the slideshow. This one's a little bit complicated and I probably won't get it perfect, but you can try and follow along and have a go at it yourself. Even if it's not perfect, it still looks good. So the first thing we want to do is click on insert, and we want to insert a picture box, and we want it to be a polygon because that'll be a four-sided shape. And so we've got the diamond here. I'm just going to make it a bit bigger. And so I want to have 4 of them. So to make 4, I just copy and paste it 4 times. So copy is Control-C on a Windows computer or Command-C on a Mac, and then Control or Command-V to paste it. And I'll just paste it again, and one more time. So we've got 4 of them. So now all I have to do is somehow align them up. And it's not that simple. It sounds easy, but you can actually use your arrow keys on your keyboard if that helps. And then basically just, align each one as well as we can do it. Okay, I haven't done a great job of this. You'll probably do a better job yourself. I'll try and align them a bit better. Anyway, so once you add photos to it, you actually probably won't notice. I've picked a few photos here, just the ones from the slideshow, just to give you an idea, but you can choose any photos. I'll use this one twice and we'll crop it a bit. So you can see bits have been cut out. I might just have this guy here on this one. It's a bit tricky because of the diamond shape. He's losing a bit of himself, but this one will try and get the little fella in there without cropping him out. That's not too bad. And those ones aren't too bad. So even though it's not a perfect diamond, you pretty much can't tell. We could add a background. So in my slideshow, we had a pattern background with all the spots there, and I think that looks pretty good. So yeah, don't worry if it's not perfect, but it's quite a nice little design. Another one I'll show you is the hexagon. So we've just got a new page. Click on Insert and Picture Box and Polygon. This time we want to change the shape of it. So we need it to be a 6-sided shape. So over here where it's got sides, I can change that to 6. Just type in 6 and press enter. And I now have a hexagon. You can change this as well if you want it to be a circle or a rectangle, if you change your mind. And my computer's just decided to be slow. All right, I'm going to make it a bit bigger on the page. And I'm going to pop in a photo, just a cute photo there. And let's put in a background as well. So I might just add it's going to be slow for me, my new background that I've included. And I want to put a little border around the image. So I click on Insert and Shape. And this time I'm also going to choose a polygon. Over on the right-hand side, I want to change it to white because that's going to look better. And I can change the shape to 6-sided as well. I'm going to make it larger so that it's a bit bigger than my photo. We probably need to go a bit bigger. And then I need to also send it to the back so that it's behind my photo. So I'm going to arrange, I'll just send it backwards so that it's behind our little fella. And then I just sort of moved that the photo so that it's centered within. It's pretty easy. Just when you center it, it shows you the green lines vertically and horizontally. That tells me it's centered. And there you go. Again, these are just examples. There's lots of ways you can play with it, lots of ideas you can use, but it just, makes your pages a bit more interesting. Okay, so that's all we've got time for today. If you have any questions, now's a really good time to send them through while I do a quick recap of what we've talked about. So we've just talked about some other design ideas and tips. We've talked a quick reminder about using rulers and measurements if you want manual control over the size and position of your images. We've looked at using shapes and lines to create patterns and a different way of displaying your photos. We've looked at the design library to create your own aesthetic or style throughout the book. And we have looked at sourcing your own backgrounds and scrapbook images. So if you are after something specific that we don't have. I guess actually the other thing I didn't mention is when you are adding photos, don't sort of add a million photos to your backgrounds because it is going to slow down the software if you do add a lot of items there. Okay, I'm just going to have a look to see if we have any questions, so bear with me for a moment. All right, first question from Leona is, can I upload HEIC images or do I have to convert to another type? So HEIC or HEIC, I don't know how you say it, images are a new Apple file type that are used with Apple iPhones, I think from iPhone 8 and newer. They are supposed to be more compressed than JPEG files. Unfortunately, our editor does not support HEIC files as yet. I don't know when that's going to be coming in. So yes, you will need to convert them to JPEG files. If you're on a Mac, you can do it through your Mac, and we have done a webinar on this. If you do need that webinar, maybe send us an email and we can find it for you. If you're on a Windows computer, you will just need to do a Google search, and say convert HEIC to JPEG, and you should get some options come up. You may also want to look at your phone settings to see if you can change the file types that you are actually making your photos in. Well, when you take a photo, that it will be saved as a JPEG. Okay, so we've got another question here. Is it better to do the book online or to download? Either is fine. The download editor does have some additional features which are not available online. Things, for example, you can highlight more than one photo at once to manipulate more than one at a time if you want to add borders or things like that. So it does have a few extra features. It also has frames that are not available in the online editor. But it also depends if you're going to be moving from place to place making it. So if you're using more than one device to make it, or you want friends to be able to put things into it as well, then the online editor may be more suitable for you. But in general, I would suggest using the download editor if you're going to be working on one computer. And sorry, one person, Leona, has just asked if she can watch a webinar again. Yes, you can. It will be posted on our YouTube channel later today and on our website, and you can just do a Google search for AlbumWorks YouTube. You will find all our webinars there, so you can have a look at them. Which brings me to our last, to the end of the webinar. With my usual speech. So just to let you know that our customer service team are here and happy to answer any of your queries. We're here Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 5:30 p.m, often till 6 p.m. Melbourne time. And we're also here on Saturday mornings, at least from 9 till 12, sometimes longer. Our phone number is 1300 553 448. And you can reach us by email, which is service@albumworks.com.au. Or you can talk to us via live chat from our website.